Have you ever sat down to do something you love, maybe reading a book, playing a game, or even just relaxing, and suddenly you freeze? You just can't get started. And next thing you know, you're in the kitchen filling up a glass of water you didn't even need. Sure, it happens to all of us with ADHD, even when it's something we want to do. Everyone talks about task paralysis when it comes to our obligations, but we don't really realize that this happens with activities we love too. ADHD symptoms do not discriminate for affinity, and that has a major impact on your self-esteem, your self-perception, and your quality of life. But what if I told you that you don't have to wait for the stars to align to get going? What if you could work with your brain, not against it, to initiate any task on cue? Today, I'm going to show you why this happens and how you can get started on any task quickly. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel where we turn ADHD into your entrepreneurial secret sauce. I'm Mina Raver, and today let's tackle one of the biggest challenges for anyone with ADHD: how to overcome task paralysis and get started on any task quickly. If you've ever found yourself stuck staring at a to-do list or just unable to begin that project you know you need to get done, you're not alone. Fortunately, there are strategies you can use to overcome that inertia and get yourself into action more quickly with less stress. Let me show you how. First, let's start by understanding what's really going on in your head. Procrastination is so misunderstood. People might say it's just laziness or a lack of discipline or willpower, but for those of us with ADHD, it's way deeper than that. It's not that we don't want to get started. It's that our brains struggle with something called task initiation. It's not that you don't want to do the task. It's that your brain is having trouble activating the physical processes needed to get it done. This can be due to a number of factors, like feeling overwhelmed, not knowing where to begin, fear of not doing the task perfectly, or just low hormones. But here's the good news. You can start working with your brain instead of against it to get started quickly and easily. The key to breaking the cycle is to find ways to lower the barrier to entry, to make starting a task feel less daunting and more achievable. Let's go through 3 powerful strategies that can help you stop procrastinating and get started on any task quickly. One of the best ways to get started on a task is to break it down into tiny bite-sized pieces, what I call micro tasks. One of the reasons we procrastinate is because the task we're trying to start feels too big or too vague. But when you break it down into smaller, specific steps, it becomes much more easy to tackle. Here's an example. Let's say you need to write a report. Instead of thinking of the entire report as one massive task, break it down. Outline the introduction. Gather your research. Write just one section at a time. Each of these micro tasks should be something you can start and finish in a very short amount of time. The smaller and more specific the steps, the easier they are to start. Here's an extra tip. Try visualizing yourself completing each of these micro tasks before you start. Research shows that your brain responds to visualization similarly to the actual practice. So close your eyes and imagine yourself outlining that intro or writing the first sentence. By the time you start, your brain already feels like it's familiar with the process, and that makes it easier to dive in. By breaking tasks down into those little bite-sized pieces and visualizing yourself completing each one, you are setting yourself up for fast, easy success. So breaking down tasks into tiny steps can help you start faster. But what if you're still stuck? My next favorite strategy is something I like to call the big build. It works like this. You may have noticed that most of the time when you can't start a task, you don't just sit there and wait for your body to move. Instead, you end up cleaning the kitchen or organizing your desk, anything but the task at hand. It's like some other part of your body knows that you want it to move, so it just does whatever it's used to. I call these procrastination projects. But here's the trick. You can use them on purpose to build momentum toward your actual goal. Start with something simple like organizing, then use that momentum to jump into your main task. Once you're in motion, it's much easier to stay in motion. Think about what those procrastination projects are and how completing them makes you feel. You can also think about where the drive to complete some of those tasks shows up in your body, what you're thinking about when you start them, and then you can start building a 1, 2, 3, go checklist or a set of tasks you can complete to prep you for a tougher one. This technique works because it intentionally leverages the momentum you naturally build up starting and completing other projects, especially if the tasks are related to or kind of similar to the one that you want to complete. So try to choose your procrastination projects relative, or at least build up to, a logical bridge between your procrastination projects and your true focus. The third strategy is to set up external cues and levers that prompt your brain to start tasks on cue. For instance, I like to have a cup of tea before I dive into my work. Once the tea is finished, that's my cue to start my first task. You can also set up phone reminders, put sticky notes where you'll see it in, or use a specific routine that signals, here are the steps that I'm using to build up to, now it's time to work. These cues help you create consistency without necessarily having to have a routine. So your brain knows what to expect and can shift into action mode even if the times are different. People with ADHD often benefit from external structure. So setting up cues in your environment can help prompt you to start tasks at the right time. These external cues help create consistency even when you don't have routine, making it easier for your brain to transition from one task to the next without getting stuck. Remember that procrastination isn't a character flaw. And it definitely is not about laziness. It's just your brain's way of dealing with task initiation challenges. But with the right strategies, you can take control, get started quickly, and even enjoy the process. The key is finding what works for your brain and building a system that supports your strengths. These are helpful strategies, and they're a great way to start really learning about yourself. But the key to long-term success is to approach task initiation in a way that works for you on your terms. Remember that this isn't about forcing yourself into a system that wasn't designed for you. It's about finding what works with your unique brain and building systems that support your strengths. When you understand the root of your challenges and apply the right strategies, you can overcome procrastination and start taking action with confidence and ease. So if this video gave you some new strategies to tackle procrastination, hit the like button and share it with someone you know who might also need it. Don't forget to subscribe for more ADHD-friendly productivity tips every week, and click the bell for notifications so you never miss a new video. I'm Mina. Thanks so much for being here. I'll see you next week.
Thanks for joining us on Productive with ADHD. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss another episode. And please click that thumbs up button below. We'd really appreciate it. And if you're ready to take your productivity to the next level with tools designed just for you, a high-achieving professional with ADHD, then download the Better CEO app, available on both Apple and Android. You'll find those links at betterceo.app and in the show notes. See you next time with more insights and strategies to help you make ADHD your unfair advantage.